Keep the applause going. Welcome to the stage, George Overington. How are we doing this evening? That's a good response, except one person over there who I can see in his eyes is saying, yeah, it wasn't until you came on. So, this is the first time I've actually performed here at the Secret Comedy Club, and it's definitely an appropriate name because it was a bitch to find this place. And then when I got here and I got to the waiting area upstairs, I thought that was the venue. And I was sort of like, great, I'm performing in another dive so small I can see the contempt in the people's eyes. But no, I came down here and it's like, yes, this is a proper venue. It's probably the first time I've done a venue that's like this. Normally I'm used to doing like small things in pubs and stuff, but this is a really nice venue. And they've done it up really nicely because done badly, this place can look like either a place where someone was likely murdered or a load of porn was filmed. And if it was a snuff film, it would be both. So I'm glad that the last guy mentioned dentistry because it reminded me that I've actually got to go to the dentist in a few days. And it's collectively something I think we can all agree we don't enjoy. And especially because the cost has got ridiculously expensive. Like apparently these are the new white gold. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, if I want to pay an exorbitant amount of money to be pumped full of unusual chemicals and then be tortured by a woman for a few hours, I go to Amsterdam. Actually, what I'm talking about, I'm in Brighton, I can do that here as well. But I've had to go to the dentist probably more times than everybody in this room combined. I've always had bad teeth problems, and unfortunately it didn't really work out, because as you can see, my teeth still look like shit. But I had this one really bad one once. It was probably the worst time I had, where I had this awful infection in my jaw. It was out to here. I looked like I was constantly mocking people for giving blowjobs. Which made it a very interesting evening when I went to revenge when I looked like that. But I went to the dentist to get them fixed, and there's no polite way of saying this, that basically what they did was that they cut my jaw open from the inside, stuck in a tube, and played what I like to call the pus bagpipe. And the noises I was making definitely lived up to that name. Just like... It was not pleasant. Although it could have been worse. It could have been like the Irish bagpipe where they put the squeeze violin in between their legs. Just imagine being scissor held by a dentist while he's squeezing the pus out of your face. Although if it was a hot female dentist with no panties on, I probably wouldn't need the anaesthetic. But there's always been bad stuff with my teeth, and I've had to have lots of different procedures. Like one time I remember, so I had braces when I was a kid. I had the classic train track braces, and like most trains in this country, the taking off of mine were delayed. But by the end, it just gets so tedious and frustrating that I was just finding any kind of magnets I could find and sticking them to the braces just to give myself something to have fun with. By the end of it, I looked like the world's worst cosplay of Jaws from James Bond. But there's always things you have to go to the dentist for. I've been loads of times, like I said. There was one time I went for something that wasn't even related to my teeth, it was to my tongue. So I was born with what's known as a tongue tie, which is where that little bit of flesh that connects your tongue to your jaw is too restrictive and you can't stick your tongue out like that. So I had to go and get it removed because otherwise I wouldn't be able to give cunnilingus. So I went there and they did the anaesthetic and they snipped it off, and I basically spent a few days talking like this, and it was very awkward and they just couldn't quite talk properly. And normally what they do is that they give you a dissolvable stitches so they don't have to remove them, they'll just go away on their own. But the last one was at the point where my tongue was joined to my jaw, and as they dissolve they get tighter. So it basically felt like some sort of reverse cow being pulled along the fields, just like this little ring inside my mouth going like that. But either way, the dentist is always something we have to go to, whether we like it or not. And, you know, even if that is the case, there's always something that you can enjoy with going to the dentist, and that's the laughing gas. It's basically free drugs on tap, really. Quite literally, because they just turn it on and you suck it in. But on the subject of laughter, laughter is something that we all need, especially comedy. Like, I haven't been doing stand-up for a while. I did a gig last week and it went awful. So I'm really glad to actually get laughter this time because I didn't get that last time. So thank you for laughing, it's definitely gratifying me. I'll have a good wank about it when I get home. But comedy is always something that we'll always need, and I'm glad that I came here to do it, because it feels like a lot of people I know have been under a lot of tension and stress, and they could probably use a bit of a laugh, hence why I've been filming my gig so I can show it to them later. And, and you know, in some cases, when you are feeling stressed, you do need to laugh, because a wank sometimes just doesn't do it. You've been fantastic, thank you very much.
George Overington, it's first time here. Now, coming on next, local and very good friend of mine, please put your hands together, make loads and loads of noise for the wonderful Mr. Graham Collard. Hello, all right? Yeah, wow, you're really, I'm surprised how happy you guys are.